Patch 1.5 Survival has been revealed and it looks lit. Man, I swear to God, you are going to enjoy this. Stick around. I'm going to tell you everything we know about the upcoming expansion. What's up guys, it's Skill Up here. Very excited to be bringing you the first news for patch 1.5 Survival. I actually could not have expected that it would be as good as it looks now. So we're going to jump straight into the details so you know what to expect when it goes live very soon. So first of all, let's talk overview. What the hell is Survival? Well, the backdrop to this is that a large snowstorm has befell New York City and it's your job to go and do some cool Division agent shit in a helicopter. Things go wrong and you end up being stranded somewhere in Manhattan, needing to make your way to the center of the map, which is the dark zone, so that you can then recover some important supplies and then extract. Only it's not just you trying to make your way to the center of the map. There's actually 24 other players also trying to do the same thing. Now you might think based on that, whoa, battle royale, what we've all been asking for so long. And that's kind of true, but it's also kind of not. So first of all, this is a completely sectioned off game mode. This is separate from the rest of the game. It's like queuing for its own unique experience, and at the end of that experience, you'll get mission rewards, which you can then take with you to your normal character, but it's not connected to the main storyline, it's not connected to the main game, it's its own discrete mode. Now, when we say there are 24 people all trying to make their way into the middle of the map, you can kill each other, but you can only do that in the PvP mode. When you queue up for Survival, you're at first asked whether or not you want to do this as a PvP experience or a PvE experience. In PvE, you're basically able to run around the map, you're able to collect resources, you're able to make your way to the middle, and you're able to extract, but you are not allowed to shoot any other players. Of course, in PvP, you can shoot whoever you like, whenever you like. There is a slight bonus for doing it in the PvP mode. They want to reward the extra risk involved, but it seems like the game mode itself is its own reward for PvP players, given that it just seems really awesome, and we'll talk more about some of that detail in a moment. So that's the setup. 24 players, match made in. You've chosen PvE or PvP. You each have a different chopper that's crashed. You've all landed a completely different part of New York City. You all need to get to the middle of the map and extract, and you all need to survive while you're doing it. And this is perhaps the biggest and most interesting change that Survival brings. It introduces 4 new mechanics that you need to manage as you're making your journey toward the Dark Zone. First of all, there is hunger. Hunger determines how quickly your health regenerates. If your hunger is very high, your health regenerates very slowly or not at all. So you actually need to forage around, find food, and keep yourself fed so that you continue to regain health. Thirst is another mechanic. Thirst determines your detection radius. Now there's actually no mini-map in Survival, it's actually just a compass in the top left-hand corner. What you're actually going to have is a heightened sense of what's around you, because things like, caches and the like are actually going to be highlighted. And the radius that determines, whether or not they are highlighted is all linked to your thirst. So make sure you stay well hydrated. As you're progressing, you're going to have a much higher chance of finding critical supplies. The third mechanic is sickness, and this is perhaps the most interesting one because it actually puts a time limit on you and on the total game session. The developers have said that the average Survival session will last you around 2 hours depending on how you play it. You can get it done in as little as an hour if you rush through it. If you really take your time nice and slow, it's probably somewhere closer to 2 hours. But that is hard capped because you have a sickness that is constantly affecting you. You need to find pills throughout your mission, and those pills will stave off that infection. You will live longer, but if you fail to find any pills, you're going to die much, much faster. So with proper management of your medications, you're probably going to last about a maximum of 2.5 hours, after which point you will get septicemia and you will die. And that's it. It is game over. The final mechanic is cold. Now you'll see here that there is a thick blizzard blowing through the streets of New York. That is not just a cool visual effect. It is damn cold out there. And you actually need to find cosmetic items to keep yourself warm. Each cosmetic item now has a warmness rating associated to it. and the higher that rating, the more able you are to deal with the blizzard outside. So as you're running around and finding more cosmetic items, you are going to equip yourself better and better for the blizzard, enabling you to head further and further into the center where it continues to get colder. So yeah, that's quite interesting. So what do you begin with at the start of each session? Well, you begin with pretty much sweet FA, which is an Australian phrase for saying not much at all. You begin with some very basic gear and a simple pistol, a green quality pistol, and you then need to go through collecting and crafting materials and weapons and gear and the like to keep yourself moving forward. In this way, collecting items, deconstructing them, and then crafting items is actually a really core part of the gameplay loop. And it actually makes every single drop that you get potentially game-changing, because if you get really lucky with a really nice purple drop, when the rest of your gear is green or blue, that can be a bit of a game changer. The other thing you need to craft are skills. So you actually don't begin with any skills at all, and you need to collect materials in order to be able to craft them. So things like pulse and heal are actually going to be really useful to you, given they give you a lot of survivability when you are playing a game mode like this. So again, let's recap. You've crashed. You've got to make your way to the dark zone. You've got nothing on you. You start running around trying to be able to craft weapons and gear to keep yourself alive. You're also going to be crafting your skills. You're going to be looking to collect cosmetic items to keep yourself warm, as well as other consumables like food and water and medicine to stop yourself from getting sick or suffering from any other number of status effects. So what are you fighting on your way in towards the center of the dark zone? Well, this is where the whole PvE and PvP thing comes into play. In the PvE game mode, you are only ever fighting against other NPCs. But I want to stress that it is a really different experience. As I watched Hamish play, you could see that the game is significantly more difficult when you start in your undergeared state and when you're affected by so many status ailments. You cannot just run and gun and hipfire your way through to victory. Every encounter is potentially life-ending, and it brings an awesome tension to the game that I think things really need right now, given how free-flowing loot is and given how much we can steamroll through content. It just looked really awesome to see Hamish struggle so much against these basic enemies. Obviously, as you get closer and closer towards the center of the dark zone, you'll eventually encounter more and more difficult enemies until you eventually encounter the hunters. Now, we don't know anything about them yet. All we know is that when you try and extract, a certain new faction will emerge and stop you from doing that. I know details of that are going to emerge very soon, but right now I don't have any detail for you, so do watch this space. Now, coming back to PvPing. Obviously, as you're making your way to the center of the dark zone, you can encounter other players, and you can choose to either team up or kill each other. And when you kill someone, you actually take all of their items from their corpse. It's like old school PvP, like an MMORPG. Kill their corpse, take their stuff. That's how it works, which is really, really awesome. And it's going to make for some very tense moments when you encounter someone in that blizzard. Do you want to open fire first and put them down? Do you want to try and talk to them and ally up? It's entirely up to you, but I think that's just going to be so awesome to watch how that plays out. But it's really important to understand that everyone can extract if they choose to. So in the PvE game mode, there are 24 players, and all 24 of them can extract if they want to, right? So it's not about having to kill people and only one person can extract. Everyone can extract if they choose to. Similarly, in the PvP game mode, 24 players start, all 24 of them can extract so long as they choose not to kill each other. My suspicion, though, is that that is not going to happen very often, because I think people who queue for that PvP queue are going to be down for a certain type of thrill, and it does not involve everyone holding hands and marching pleasantly to the center of the dark zone. Now, it goes without saying in this that when you die, you die. You lose all of your progress for that session, and you then need to start at the very beginning by queuing for another session. There are no second chances. That's it. You are done. However, your medkit will now revive you from a downed state, which is important because medkits are actually much more rare than they are in the normal game, so do hold on to those. But otherwise, it's like hardcore Diablo. If you are down, and it's time to start your character all over again. Now, of course, none of this has any impact impact on your main character. This experience is completely disconnected from your main character. So obviously, if you die in this mode, your main character does not disappear when you leave that survival mode. However, you do get rewards for completing survival, and you get to take those rewards back with you into the main game. Now, the rewards that you get depend on how well you do. So how geared you become, how many consumables you collect, how close you make it to the dark zone, number of enemies killed. There's a number of things that will affect your overall reward rating, and we'll learn exactly what those are with time. But essentially, you can earn up to 15 sealed caches by doing really well and fully extracting from a survival session. So that's not bad at all. So that's it. That is survival. It is a sort of battle royale if you want it to be, but it's also a very safe PvE mode if you'd like it to be. And when I say safe, I mean safe from other players. The world environment is still going to be very dangerous indeed. You start with nothing, you collect and you craft and you survive and you make your way to the center of the map so that you can extract. You'll fight the hunter, you'll collect some sweet loot while you're doing it. Even if you die really early, you are still going to get some rewards, so don't worry about that. And it just looks like an awesome amount of fun. Now, with this comes patch 1.5, and it's going to bring a whole bunch of new stuff as well. For example, there is a new world tier 5. There's going to be new gear score, which I believe is gear score 256. There are going to be new weapons added. For example, the MG5, which we saw leaked onto the PTS earlier. There are going to be new named weapons added as well, but we don't have any idea what they are yet. There's going to be a whole bunch of other stuff added as well. And the last kicker is that there are actually going to be named gear pieces. We don't exactly know what these are yet, but very excited to see what those are going to be. They're going to be individual items that are going to have their own sets of talents, which is going to be really awesome. Cannot wait to see how that looks. Now, for the logistics on all of this, there's some good news and there's some bad news. So, the bad news first, this is not available to console players on the PTS. That blows. Obviously, I've done a video about that earlier. They said that they are making progress with Microsoft and Sony in terms of being able to get a PTS. They are still working towards it, but it was not possible yet. So fingers crossed, they are at least able to get some sort of beta weekend before the launch of the game. I don't know, but for now, there is no console PTS running. Very disappointing. The good news for PC players, though, is that the PTS will be available like really, really soon. I'm talking potentially by the time I have this video up, it'll be up. You know, the developers have basically said they announced it a few hours ago and they said it will be available that same day. They're just deploying a final change. There's a 7.7 gigabyte patch to download, I understand, on the PC, and boom, you are in. You're going to be playing survival straight away. So if you're on the PC, and then, you can download the PTS, then do it. The other thing I should mention, though, is that this is only available to Season Pass holders. So if you have the Season Pass, you can do this. And if you don't have the Season Pass on PC, you cannot do this. And also, if you bought the Season Pass after Thursday of last week, you will not be able to play just yet because they did a data load back then. They're going to do another data load this coming Thursday that will then grant you access. But if you bought the Season Pass after Thursday of this week, you will not yet have access. Now, there's no release date yet on when patch 1.5 is going to launch. They're obviously going to be testing it extensively on the PTS. And I guess the other bad news is that this patch comes for PC and for Xbox first. PS4 players will get it 30 days later. So obviously that sucks, no doubt about it. But hey, that's the way it is. I know it blows, but at least, PC and Xbox players can get all the bugs worked out first. And hopefully you guys will have a bug-free release. That's the only silver lining I can see here, because otherwise it is disappointing. But look, all of that aside, focusing on the good stuff, I think this looks amazing. I cannot believe that the developers have been this ambitious with the addition of this game mode. They could have just added, I don't know, another gear tier and some random stuff and a few new weapons and items and fixed up name weapons and pushed it out and boom, they're done. This is not that. This is an entirely different experience. It is a reimagining of the Division experience, and it just adds so many awesome mechanics and so much awesome tension that I just cannot wait to experience. I hated DZ PvP, hated it, because it was so unfair so often. The idea that, you know, your gear matters in that PvP moment is so frustrating to me. And the fact that we all begin at absolutely nothing and we need to run around and collect our stuff and craft and make the right choices, choose to ally ourselves or choose to attack, all of that is just fantastic. And I cannot wait to see that play out. That's the kind of PvP mode that I can't wait to be involved in. And even for those that aren't interested in PvP at all, you can just choose the PvE mode and have just as much fun that way. So look, it looks great. I'm obviously going to be going to bed now, so I'm not going to be able to try this until tomorrow, but absolutely I'll be giving it a good go and then giving you some impressions very soon. For now, guys, if you like this video, do drop it a like, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe for all of the content that you could possibly want in the lead up to patch 1.5. I'm about to hit 100,000 subscribers, so if you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit it now. For now, guys, thanks very much for watching. Take good care, and I'll see you in patch 1.5. Bye-bye.